More carrots. Don't tear it. More carrots. Where's Garrett?
Vegetables. Vegetables.
Here I come from the west side. The left side.
Hey,
We did it.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Oh my God, I love your background, the pyramid.
Yeah, I make it pretend I'm home.
Oh,
It's
it's
funny.
so
I'm
good to
never
meet
on
you.
time. Nice to meet you too, but I already met you on phone. But girl, how about last night Ben Affleck was in my dream. His birthday's August 15th. And that's why. Because
Oh my
you,
God. I know. I
yeah,
have so many questions for you, and I think a lot of the other people that are coming in are going to have the same questions. So I'm going to wait a sec. But I have so many questions about birthday portals. So when I first got on TikTok, your page was one of the first ones that I saw. And I just went down the rabbit hole. I was like, what are these birthday portals? Why haven't I heard about this?
yes. Oh, I didn't know about it either until I was like, something's up with my dreams, who I'm seeing, what I'm connecting every day in like my real life. Like, it's kind of like everything comes after you when you're awakened. You're like, oh my God, we live in a whole new world. But then it's like jumbled because a lot of people go to church. Some people are not into new age or into spiritualism or into anything. So they just hit with all this stuff. They're like, I'm happy. I'm at the greatest point in my life, whether it be they're super rich, they're married, or they're at the lowest point in their life. And they're trying to make sense of it. So I'm like, there has to be some type of sense because these people have computers to do quantum computing. So I said, maybe it has something to do with the birthdays. And I realized that when I was dreaming, it was always around the person's death date and birthday.
Wow.
So then that's when I got into, let me go ahead and at least make it make sense. Because if you just say I dreamed about a random person, people are like, and so so now so now it makes sense because if I'm with, like I was telling you, Tupac was in my dream, and then your grandma was June. So and then Kanye is June 8th, and your grandma was June 8th. So Kanye's in my dreams too because he's awakened, but he just goes to church a lot. When you go to church, it's very hard to get out of the box because they teach you to sit still, listen, and learn, and not to teach yourself. So you get lost,
Mm.
you know.
I love it. Okay, so first I want to know, what is your take on dreams? Like, what exactly do you think dreams are? What do you think is happening to us during dreams?
Yes. Okay. So, of course, ancient Egyptians, they believed in the underworld or the duat. It's a duality. So, I always talk about these deities, and it's the same six deities over and over again. It's basically Isis, it's her husband Osiris, their son Horus, and then the other brother in law and sister is a twin sister, which is Nephthys. Everybody take notes because no one's going to remember, but just take notes or watch my page. So Nephthys, Set, and Anubis. So those are two twins women that are married to two men and they have two kids. That's the story that is repeated over and over in the world. That is the story of the doo-wop. That is the story of the family that's above and the family that's below. So I always say CPS is not Child Protective Services, but it is. It's Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, which is three water signs, which is that one family. If they keep them separated, then they keep duality separated. So that's what CPS is there for. They're not really there to like help because most people that are doing really bad things to kids still have their kids. It's the ones that are going through the divorces with the evil
True.
people. It's the one that your kids gifted and they see it when they're in school and they're like, we're taking them from school. A lot of
Hmm.
that. So your dreams are just seeing the side that I see, which is the water signs. Now, when it comes to the fire signs are the firewall to the dream. So you guys are the ones that keep you. A lot of fire signs are like watchers and they get shadowed a lot. People are like always on them because they really don't feel it as much as like a water sign might or an air sign. So fire signs are the firewall, though. You could watch, but it's very hard to get through them. But when they get awake like you, that means they're awake in the duat, which is your dream realm, which is the death realm, as well as here. So you're dangerous. That's why I put the dragons out, because she knows she's out here and you were undercover. A lot of people that are not color, like, you know, you look like a white girl, but you Lemurian, right? Lemurian people were everybody, you know? So you're a mermaid. So you could sneak in the radar and listen out for everybody's racism or classism or whatever it is, because you're like really a good person. So that's why they're losing the fight, is because people like you are working with people like me. And we're like, listen, we're conquering everybody. And that's in dream realm, which is the duat, which is where you see a lot of depth because it's astral, as well as real life, because you could just live your real dream if you're doing your goals.
So you think that sometimes in dreams we're basically experiencing our other lives, like our other realities too?
Yes, absolutely. It's the place where we transfer information. If you ever seen Black Panther, he like goes into dream realm and he sees his grandfather. So I go into dream realm. I see a lot of people get murdered, killed, all these other words that I can't say on TikTok, with their, you know, adults with children, you know what I'm saying? So I see all that happening as well. I see like your grandmother, Tupac, everybody on the other side who crossed over. It's not like you are in the future, basically. Either A, you're being held somewhere, which is usually that hospital I told you, where it's the portal, they kind of keep you there, or you already crossed over because you made it home. So that's why I say, like, solve riddles while you're awake, because when you're sleeping in the duat, there's always real reason you can't get out. You can't get through the doors without knowing answers.
Oh,
Because remember I
wow.
told you to like learn who is on your birthday, because you have to learn who's holding the door for you, you know, or who you're holding the door for. So for me, learning you guys helps me learn that when I go to sleep, who's good or who's bad. I'm like, oh, that's her grandmother, so let her in. You know what I mean? And if your grandma wanted to show me something and she showed me the hair, she showed me things about you that I wouldn't have known, so you could know to trust me, because she needs help to like bring everybody through the underground railroad of consciousness. That's what dream realm is. The underground railroad of consciousness that people
Oh,
are trying to
wow.
hijack. Yes.
Wow.
So yeah. So when you go into there, you're gonna see people, and those people are going to help you. Some people cannot see or hear or remember their dreams. Some people
I
do.
really don't. I can hardly remember my dreams. And waking up is so difficult. Like I'm like me, like coming back awake is so difficult every day. But I have almost no recollection of what happens in my dreams.
You know why? It's because a lot of times, like for 38 years, I didn't really remember that many dreams. I remember like one or two, and it was like a coincidence. Someone might have passed away, and I'm like, oh, whatever. But then when I turned 38 and I was being like spiritually attacked, then it's like, remember your dreams because they're coming for you. And if you can't remember, you can't see who's coming. But
Wow.
for you, even if you don't remember your dreams, anybody, you're still doing the work because you're still sleeping. And if you go through REM sleep, which is like remember is REM sleep, right? And mer is REM backwards. So when you're in REM sleep, you know, you're blinking a lot. That's why when you see albinos, they do this a lot. That's like they're in REM sleep all the time,
Wow.
right? So basically, even if you don't remember, it's okay, because it's not time to remember, because maybe you're not safe yet. When you get in this world, then you could tell everybody. Because if you told everybody, they'd be looking for your kids, your son, your parents, and they'd be trying to take you out like you're Spider-Man, and then blame everything on you, like you were a witch or something. But I'm a good witch. So are you.
Okay, so with the birthday portals, so basically my understanding from watching your stuff is that, you know, when we're crossing into this world or out of this world, we're crossing through portals to go through the two realms. But now other people who were born around that time have crossed through like a realm, a portal that's kind of like the same frequency.
Yes. And that frequency is not just your day. There's different portals. So from August 10th to I think the 23rd is 13 days of pure purgatory, because it's the Leo sign, is hot. You got the firewalls. When you wake up, it's dragons. So people in there have to get in, not get burnt, and come back out. And what's the best sign to go in there is a Leo and a dragon. You know what I mean? Because you can go in. Y'all can't hurt me because it's my sign. But a lot of people who are fire signs that are negative people go in there and they hijack consciousness. That's
Oh
why
wow.
when I put all the pictures of like the people who passed away in August, like Marilyn Monroe was born in August, Kobe Bryant was born in August, Princess Diana died in August. You got Michael Jackson, August. So all these August people that are really humongous people, including Emmett Till and Chadwick Boseman, passing away around the same August portal. It's important because that means when Kelly Hopkinsville, they were doing whatever they were doing with the MK Ultra stuff, whatever like alien invasion was happening, it happened and it took all those people because they make pretend in this doo-wop that you're with the people you love. So they manipulate the energy of someone maybe wanting you. Like, say, if your mom's looking for you, they'll manipulate the mom looking for you, and then you think your mom is there. That's why it's important to feel your mom, to see your mom, to hear your mom, because not just you see her, she's there. That's why people that go to church get tricked a lot, even though they have discernment in church, but they don't know how to do it. So I'm trying to teach, like, you need to discern, like, because I swear to God, they're going to show you your mom and use the energy frequency from your mom. Because in these mental wards that they have all over the world on these portals, they have gifted people and they have a lot of broken people that get gifts all under the same roof. So you have the person who touched the children with the children who've been touched, which is very dangerous because you're dreaming with each other in the same building, in the same place. And that's how you keep everybody in the loop. And in August, that's how you take everybody.
Wow.
So that's why you can't remember your dream, because if you did, they would already been telling you because they could see your face. If you remember them, they remember you, unless you're close.
Wow. So that reminds me of this video. I don't know if you saw it. It was viral like a month ago. So basically there was this girl, she was pretty young, and she had a dream that basically she was kidnapped and all of these like horrible things happened to her. And it was like a very scary dream. And then the next day she saw the guy from the dream in the supermarket, and he came up to her and said, "Oh, I feel like I know you from somewhere." And it's like, it's so interesting that you're saying, because that if you remember that, their face, they probably remember your face as well. So what do you think about that guy that all of these people see in their dream? You know, you've heard of that, right? Where there's like that one, it's like this one guy that people, like thousands of people have said that they saw this creepy guy in their dreams. And he's kind of just like, I don't know if anyone in the comments knows what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like one of,
or the Hat Man.
It's not the Hat Man.
It's not
No, it's not Slender Man. It's just like a regular kind of creepy looking guy. Yeah, not Hat Guy. I'll have to send it to you. My friend, he did a video on it, Parapsych Talk, and I've seen it on different things before where they're basically, and it's like thousands of people have seen this same guy, and it was basically discovered by like a therapist like 30 years ago, 40 years ago or something like that, because a bunch of people had talked about the same man in their dreams. So I wonder who that is.
Wow.
Just look up creepy dream guy. Exactly. Creepy dream guy.
You just said is that a therapist for years was tracking this man. So imagine what other therapists in the world are tracking that people are saying that never met each other. That's how the government knows what's going on, because they, like, for-profit companies run places like this. Scientologists have places like this because they're against, they don't like mental health care places, so they're always in there. You have the government who always works with psychics, so they kind of know what's coming. Like, for example, the insurrection. So same way that all those people knew about this one man, the government knows about, the insurrection coming. They let it happen. They let everybody watch it. And then it went down because they wanted to get Trump out. So with this guy, if everybody's seen, I feel like the government be like the number one person that's been around for a long time with the CIA to look at people. So I feel like, they had a few guys that would go put stuff on their head or just were psychic and would look for us, aka Lemurians or whoever the government's looking for. So I feel like they all saw the same man that came looking for them because they have gifts.
Oh, wow. That could be like the guy that's, psychically looking for these people. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yes, I will find them.
So another thing, which this reminds me of that you talk about, that was like a big breakthrough when I saw it, but also completely clicked because I'm a writer, is that you say that writers remote view without realizing that sometimes they're basically seeing someone else's real life story and they're the one that's writing it, thinking it's their
Yeah.
imagination.
90% of the time, unless they lived that life, if you lived in a white picket fence and had all the money in the world, didn't have much trauma, but like maybe you've been touched or something, because everybody has adult trauma, like family trauma. But when it comes to like, oh, you did a whole entire hood movie and you never have no hood friends, you ain't been to the hood, or a whole entire movie about superheroes, but you know you're not a superhero. So I don't know how you write. Do you like write and do you channel while you're writing? Like, how do you write what you're writing? What do you think you're seeing?
So for me, it's kind of like a long process before I ever actually write. It's a lot of it being in my mind for like a few months. One movie that I haven't written yet, I literally in meditation of the course of a whole summer, every day was getting like more of the movie. And it was so, it's about this woman in Peru and basically her saving the world through like timelines. And it was like this whole thing, and it was like emotional. Like I was like literally like seeing it in my head. I was like crying. I'm like, this is beautiful. And then I was like, this is someone's like real life. There's no way that this is something that I'm just for some reason seeing in my head and feeling the emotions of. And you also brought up the place that I had seen that you brought it up was about Allie Carter, who which was so interesting because when you look up Allie Carter, the first thing that comes up is those books written by Allie Carter, but it's a pen name. And then
Yes.
there's a real girl, Allie Carter,
Yes.
who experienced that life, and she's like been talking about it publicly. And it's crazy. When you pointed that out, I was like, oh my God, I literally came across that book.
Yes, that girl. Exactly. Because when I went through the time, my algorithms, algorithms on TikTok are pretty good at leading you there. I'm like, this is an interesting story. Then I'm like, let me go down my little rabbit hole. I was like, oh my God, look at this. So that's how, so for you, because you don't remember your dreams, but you are a writer, people have different ways to channel. So that's what your gift is. So you're channeling that way, and you are seeing other people's stories if you didn't experience it yourself. Or you might just be seeing yourself doing something else in astro as well. I know you help people because like I've seen you in my dreams. So even though you don't remember, I know you were there. I know your grandma's there. And everybody could see the change in consciousness that is already crossed over, like your grandma. So she's going to tell you all these things the way that she knows how to tell you, which is by making your imagination see what she sees, even though you're not seeing.
Wow.
It's like I follow a psychic called Sloan Bella, and she just channels people when she's awake, and she'll just go running and she's like channeling people. I'm like, and then she'll repeat the story, but I've seen everything in my dreams. So I'm like, yeah, you saw Chelsea Christ too. Oh, you saw that too, but I see everything in my dreams. So then I'm like, I see your movie. Like that's why I do movie decodes and stuff. Because you're writing, but I'm seeing it in my dream. And then Sloan Bella is channeling. So all of us together are showing like we're all separate entities that don't know each other, but we're telling the same story. While the government's telling a whole nother different story and the church is telling a whole nother different story, they stay on a narrative that's been keeping us sleeping for a long time. And we're starting to wake up. And together we change each other. Like we don't change each other's minds. We back each other up. And then if someone else is, oh, she don't make no sense. You're like, but she does. And you are smart. You're reputable. You understand. My sister does finance. She's the analyst for a big company making money. She's like, yeah, my sister does do that. And then Sloan's like, yeah, go look at her page. And I don't have that many followers. I used to have 88,000. And then they took me down because when I say things like this, I can't just talk like this on my TikTok page. They'd be like, misinformation. No, 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 no. And people I see are government workers in my dream. Like I see Indiana doing a ritual. I see the presidents. I've seen all the presidents, the ones alive, all the dead ones, all of them. And because they're doing rituals at Bohemian Grove, and you're doing voodoo rituals. I'm Haitian. You're doing Lemurian stuff. You have our artifacts that you took from the pyramids, or Lemuria, or from the sea. So the whole cities that sank, they have Native American stuff. They know a lot about us that we don't know, and now we're just finding out that we are the people that we're supposed to be. So now they're mad. We're the Ghostbusters. We're Scooby-Doo. We're taking off the mask because it's really just people. People like, it's the demon. I'm like, the demon is just a person that's evil. And the timeline, and they're trying to change people's mind and to do bad things. So yes, ma'am, we are channeling That's what you're doing when you're writing this. And this is good though, because I love to see when people create things and on the screen, because it's like, oh man, they saw that part, but they don't. I don't know if they know, but you know now, like
It's crazy. And a little hat. So also, so you always reference like movies and stuff like that. So that's kind of like when you say that like someone's story is in a movie, is that kind of like an archetype, and basically like did their soul, so like sometimes, for anyone that maybe isn't aware of what you talk about, that basically, you'll kind of like take like a public figure or someone, their story, and you see like the movie they're in, and you could say that like story in the movie has someone's true life story encoded into it. So is that kind of like archetypes? Is it kind of like a frequency of that life, or is it that actual soul's life?
Okay, so since like a billion people or a million people or 1,000 people are born on one birthday, it's you ever see like a episode or like a TV show that keeps going on and on, like Friends, right? So like say Friends is based on the President Trump's kids and Biden's kids. Those are the president's kids. And Ross, they all had all those kids look alike. Like if you look at Friends, they look like that. And it's been going on time because those people have been up on the radar for a long time, and we've been watching them. So you have all their stories, but say they are also in Astral doing secret things, because those are kids of a president, which means they probably went under Astral because they take substances to go under the watch. That's like their thing. So while they're watching us, we're watching them. So in the friend show, you might see another person's story, another birthday they're watching. I don't know how to explain. So you're seeing one birthday, including 10 other birthdays that they see, as well as 10 other people with the same birthday. So how you know it's you is like when I watch a TV show or movie, it's not just my story. I'm February 27th. So if there's a portal of 10 days around there where it changes from the sun sign to the star sign, because I use 2 charts, it is the trauma, the death, the hurt from those 10 people. If it's a horror movie, it's a trauma for those 10 people that had the most trauma in that time. That is actually a Lemurian person that's trying to change it. And if it's like a comedy, it's about the fun. Maybe it's the tragedy and the fun time, like Dante's Inferno, like the Divine Comedy. So it's a comedy about that same thing. So like you have 10 writers in Hollywood. That's why it's a closed circuit in Hollywood, because they know what they're doing. So they all know they're going in, and they can just keep making money off these stories. They're only watching the few people that are awake. But as more people get awake, you see more opportunities for movie makers. You see Atlanta has all these movies getting stuff. You see like everybody has a YouTube and a TV show. There's more stories to watch. So in the awake, there's more stories to watch. In the beginning, before we woke up, there was the same story. So we had the Little Mermaid. Yeah, those 4 main stories, the princess stories, and we watched them for the past 40, 50 years over and over again, right? But now there's like remakes, and they're like, we're not even gonna do remakes, we're just start new. It's very hard for people who are not Lemurian to make the future stories or the future mermaid stories. Number one is because it's gonna tell everybody what they were doing, which is just watching people, making their life horrible, depressing them, suppressing them, discriminating against them to make these movies. Because that's the only way that all these people would be hurt, to make a princess movie. And then make them pretend there's like a Christ to come save them or a prince to come save them, when they're actually just going to save each other and save themselves. And now they made it out, and we're all here. And now we're going to make our own stuff, and we're going to tell the truth. And when you cast the characters, it's going to look like the governor of your city. It's going to look like the real people who are actually doing the rituals. And that's why certain people they try to get rid of that are creators that just are passing away, because they can see they're going to create character with it. You're going to have exact coding. It's going to have the same name, the same birthday, the same everything, because you're seeing who it is because they're still alive, or they were alive and they passed away.
So meaning like the person that they pick for the movie that they cast will have those things in common with the person whose story or archetype that they're channeling. So yes. Like if, the character is being played by like Jennifer Lawrence, so that might have, either someone named Jennifer or the same birthday, or, so basically they're casting people who can fit into that like code.
Yes. It's like if Jennifer Lawrence looks like you dyed your hair blonde, but you kind of have blonde. I see your hair was like blonde and brown when you were younger. So, and your birthday is around the same time as Jennifer Lawrence. So is Sloan Bella's birthday. Her birthday is August 15th. Remember that firewall about you guys being dragons and about being scary? So now you have her being from Kentucky doing the Hunger Games. So I wasn't always seen, but you might have been seen before I got seen because I wasn't safe yet. So now you and Sloan Bella got seen before I got seen. So they don't know what Sophia looks like. They just know there's a person in Kentucky with blonde hair. That's a firewall. That's you and Sloan Bella. Y'all got my back. I know that. So whenever I go under, I'm not scared to go drive my car because they're looking for me. I'm not scared of my children because I know y'all could come through for me because you came through for me in Kentucky because that's the reason why they would cast someone born in August 15th in that firewall with blonde hair and, looking like y'all do. Even though y'all dye your hair a little bit more blonde. But you know what I mean? Like I saw you guys. You saw me. We came through because we're supposed to come. You saw me. We came through because we're supposed to come through. And now you're a writer. And Sloan is on her YouTube telling people who it is, and she could see people. So together we out the people because there's real alive people that are still doing this today. As we speak, there are children locked up. There are people like me locked up, and they're telling, especially Black people, because Black people don't really know about Lemuria, and they didn't know about nothing, mostly just church. So when you start to channel Lemuria, Atlantis, and what the truth is, and you go to these places, they're like, no, you're crazy. Meanwhile, most people of non-color have been through New Age, have been seeing Lemuria, have been doing this for years. The government been knowing about all these things, but they make us seem like we're crazy, and now we're losing our minds, but it's not true. We're not. We're just tapping into what we've already been without the church, because we are the church.
It's true.
Yeah. So when you cast, so right now you're dangerous because if you're gonna make a story and you're gonna start casting, it's not gonna be just the archetype. It's gotta be the person. Like I saw Ben Affleck in my dream. His birthday is August 15th because I was decoding you. Whenever I decode people start popping in my dream. He was doing some stuff though in the bed. I was like, ew, you nasty. But he lived you with J-Lo. And I was talking about J-Lo yesterday. I was like, no wonder you with J-Lo. He was doing some stuff. I'm not even going to say what he's doing. But the thing is, if I was writing a story and I did a scene based on what he was doing, and in fact he is doing that, that's dangerous. So if I see an Obama, if I see a Clinton, if I see JFK and the brother RFK were at the tombstone for their dad, and they were like, these witches killed my dad. And the certain time and date, it was like, oh my God, I go watch Back to the Future movie, and like they have a scene where they're at the grave, and the grave has like the birthday or whatever the year. So I could read the codes because I have the keys to the code. People might not see it because they're not the ones that are in the story. So I know that when I see meetings or I see certain stories, I might see your archetype, your birthday, but I know that we were working together and we were channeling each other to make that, and they could see, if that makes sense. So one archetype includes 10 other real ass people.
Okay. Let me see. Does anyone have any questions about it? Because I know I saw a couple people say they were a bit lost. So I don't know if anyone has any
siblings. Does she have siblings? I have siblings. I have 2 sisters.
I have 2 sisters and 2 stepsisters and also a brother. What is my zodiac sign? I'm a Leo.
I'm a Pisces. But yeah, you're like she's straight Leo, like Leo on both sides. I'm like a Pisces, Aquarius, so Nephthys and Ptah. So that's why I always tell people to look at the god and goddesses that represent you, because in ancient Egypt, it's not like in ancient Egypt on the wall, all the god and goddesses look alike. You notice that, except they might have a different animal head or a snake or a different. It's because we all are just people with the same archetype during different times. So they're astrology through explaining a story. So they explain and then they explaining DNA lines based on a story. So like Isis might have blue eyes and blonde hair, and her husband Osiris might have had blue eyes and blonde hair. Whatever it is with the blue eye and blonde hair, people are obsessed with. It's a DNA from Lemuria. So then you have the girls were twins, so maybe they had dark hair and dark eyes. So their husband, maybe one was red hair, which is Set, because Set is like a movie set. It's angry, it's an episode, it's psychotic. It's Halloween, it's dress up time. So that's Set. Right? So that's October, November. And then you have the wife being Nephthys, which is a Pisces. And then you have the kid being Anubis, which is a Cancer. So when you have these 2 twins identical, they had like switched places and slept with each other's husbands. When the kid came out, Anubis, he must have came out with like blue eyes, but maybe Set had green eyes. So Set's like, so you telling me we have, blue eyes? Like, why would this kid have blue eyes unless you slept with my sister's husband? Because we were playing it like I say we, right? Because I'm a Pisces, and my twin would be Taurus, which is Isis. So I'm Nephthys, Pisces. It could get confusing. I'm Nephthys, Pisces, and then my twin is Isis, Taurus. Okay, that's Mayday. That's Mother May I. That's the Earth sign. So we're twins. We look like me. Imagine there's two of me, right? We're married to two different men with two different genetics. So when I have my child first, that's why I say BC is 23 before Christ, because July is Cancer. It came before December, which would be the twin of Christ, or the brother, or the cousin. So you have, once again, Nephthys, which is Pisces, Set, Scorpio, having a child, which is Anubis. Anubis is July, which is before Christ, which is 23 in numerology, which is like Egypt. Anyways, they have, which is like Egypt. Anyways, the kid has blue eyes. So the husband's mad. He set it off. He's having a manic episode. He's having a horrible episode. He's turning into a serial killer at this point. So he goes and he chops up Osiris, kills him, put him in a box, and like was like, oh no, you had an affair. But me had recessive genes of blue eyes because I'm Lemurian. So we had a kid with blue eyes. They didn't have no DNA test back then. So here you go, Set's upset because he has red hair and green eyes. And he's like, oh, so it's not my kid. Do you understand? So then you have the other side of the thing, which is Isis has blue eyes. And she's with, so maybe Isis's husband, which is Osiris. Osiris is Queen Elizabeth. So think of Osiris being April, Aries, Queen Elizabeth. So that man has blue eyes and he's with the same twin like me. So, you would think that kid would either have blue or brown eyes. So the kid gets born Sagittarius, which is around December, which is the time when Jesus is born. So that's the twin, that's the brother. So they have a kid with blue eyes. So in the world, they worship this Osiris energy, this blue eyes and blonde hair. They worship it. They love it because that's their mother. That's the one mother that had this baby. And they're very upset at Set for killing the dad, which is Osiris, which is why they always be like, always saying Set, a movie set episode, you're manic, you're crazy, separate that family, they're horrible. Because in the beginning, that's what happened with the first, couples and the twins. That's why the Twin Towers represents those sisters, Isis and Nephthys. And that's why they got ran over, and that happened on 9/11. If you get all that, you keeping all that.
So I think, to explain it a little bit. So also, and then you have also, there's like Egyptian type. It's not really astrology, but it's kind of similar. So like instead of a sign, you have one Egyptian god or goddess that represents your birthday, your birth month.
Yes.
And then are you saying also kind of like people are getting the archetype from that? Like basically, are you saying also kind of like people are getting the archetype from that? Like basically.
Yes, that's the archetype. If you could learn that story, then oh, you know what? I'm a Pisces and let's say you're a Set. Say you're a Scorpio. And you know that back in the day, Scorpio killed Osiris, which is Aries. You might not get along. You might have a feeling like you're close to an Aries as a Scorpio, but something's always just off and you always want to beat their ass. It's because back then that's what you did. So if you're going to marry, a Scorpio marries an Aries, it's going to feel comfortable because you know each other, but you're probably not going to last because the last time y'all kill each other. That makes sense.
And so do you feel like there's only like kind of a small handful of these things, or do you feel like, there's millions of these type of archetypes, or are we all kind of, there's like of archetypes and then we're all just kind of reusing the same ones?
So basically there's probably like 13, 14 because there's between 12 and 14 signs charts for the most part. So there's 13 to 14 different type of archetypes. But depending if you were born as a man or a woman, because a god and a goddess is a feminine or a masculine energy, creates a different unique thing for your family. So say you're a Set and you're a man, and then you're a Pisces and you're a woman, and you have a kid, that actually makes sense because that's what it was. Now, if you switch it, where the woman is Set and the man is Nephthys, the man you get with is going to have to be more of a homebody. He's going to have to fit into the archetype, or else you're always going to be mad at him because he's always going to be trying to be a man, when in reality, his archetype was always like a feminine energy. So in the end, you both want to go to work because he thinks he's the man, but he's really supposed to just be with the kids because she stays at home. So it's like this circle until we actually click back into the right beginning, which is like right before we got like in Lemuria, we got like invaded. And we were about to have a tribal relationship where we were all going with our soulmates. We were astral traveling. We were about to create these babies. So they came through and they took all the babies. The Atlantis people came to Lemuria, took all the babies, took everybody, took the beautiful women they thought were beautiful to them, and everybody else ran. So all the tribes, before they had a chance to get back together to make things the way it's supposed to be, they got scattered for all these years. Now we're back and we could actually meet each other again. We could find people and be like, you're Lemurian and I love you no matter what race you are, because we're creating these new exotic babies that we had before. And we all appreciate and love each other for our dark skin, our light skin, our brown eyes, because we don't want the same thing. Like that's like marrying your brother or sister. You usually do marry like someone you look alike with, or you marry the opposite. I noticed that. So it's like we're all coming back, but we keep coming back until we meet the right soulmate and have the right kids, so everything makes sense again. And then we switch it up because it's fun to switch it up when it's supposed to be time to switch. So that makes sense.
And so do you think that these archetypes and, you know, that they're kind of like 12 or so in all the different cultures, do you think that they're also connected to like the alien races?
Absolutely, because Lemuria is what, okay, so this is my philosophy, because this is what I channeled, is that there was two beings that came from whenever, and they had blonde hair and blue eyes. There was two of them. Now, the mother was O negative, so she couldn't have any more kids than that one kid. The father was O negative too, but he could have kids with the O positive black woman or whatever entity was here. So they created Earth babies, and she just created her clan of babies. So her babies and their babies got together and had some babies. So they weren't like, they always say they're brothers and sisters. Not really. It's like two entities came through, blonde eyes and blue hair, which is wherever they came through. They had a lot of knowledge from outer space. You know how sometimes things explode and the egg lands here? What if the egg landed here? They were twins and they had blonde hair and blue eyes and they were O negative and they came out this, whatever happened to them, and they met people on Earth and was like, ooh, we're going to have some babies. And they did, which created the Lemurian people. So Lemurian people, maybe that's why on TV you only see black and white people in America. They don't really show Native Americans. They don't show Spanish too much. They don't show Indians. They don't show anybody with black and white. Maybe it's because the first person that these people saw was a black woman, and she could have all the babies. And a black woman, I've seen them with blonde hair and blue-eyed kids. But the white woman, most likely, she usually just pretty much, you know, she gives birth to similar things. But a black woman, it's like a surprise, like Easter egg hunt. Like, oh, if you have a white man or a Spanish man or any other man, Chinese man, and we have recessive genes. So like even back then, so basically if you have that one white woman that only could have that one kid who then had many, many kids, or just O negative kids, because he's O negative, the other O positive woman had the rest of the world species. So
which is what they say is the mitochondrial Eve, you know,
Yes.
that they can basically trace everyone back to one African woman who's the mother of everyone that's alive right now.
Except I told you about the other woman who was O negative. And that's why they check bloodlines, because they want to see if you're related to that woman.
So they say that everyone on Earth is a descendant of this one woman, but then there's actually a group of people who are not a descendant of that woman.
Yes. But her kids had kids with the descendants of the black woman. So once you go past that black woman, like once you get to that point where you're like, oh, there's this woman, but there's another woman over here. Yes, some other kids, but her kids got with this other woman's kids.
So then it was eventually everyone, because she only had one kid. So the kid had to...
She might have had maybe 3 or 4, but they had to be like O negative. They couldn't, like she probably had a whole bunch of O negative kids until she died. But they weren't O positive, and they couldn't eat. The women could not carry anything but O negative. But her boys could. Her boys could go mess with all them other mixed kids.
Wow.
Yes.
And then, so do you think this is also connected to like Adam and Eve?
Yes. I don't know how, but you try that one.
Yeah. I mean, probably, you know, kind of like that same thing where it's like the guy is being created allegedly from the
The
rib. And then basically, you know, they kind of don't talk about how everything else happens, that it's just what brothers and sisters after that, allegedly. And then there's also this idea of like a snake coming in, possibly polluting or changing the DNA. And then now, you know, there's a whole nother reality where there's original sin.
So me and the Bible, we don't get along too much these days. So let me get into that one. So when I think of Adam and I think of like Eve and the Caribbean, I think of Caribbean because the Caribbean has two B's. And I think about like the butterfly effect and changing timelines. So then I think about maybe Lemurian being down there because the Bermuda Triangle is there, which matches the Egyptian pyramids. So I think they put this there as a ploy, like go look over there because we're really over here. So then when they took all the Caribbean people back over there, they feel really comfortable and they're like, oh, we like the Caribbean over here. Actually, it's all right for us. So it has palm trees. It reminds us of this place right here, except it has water. But we're Lemurians. Some of us are scared of the sea because we drowned back in the day. Like I don't like the sea because I think that is going to take the whole island out. So with the Caribbean and Adam and Eve, I just feel like there's something connected because there's two B's in Caribbean and the butterfly effect and just Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp being on like trial right now with Amber Heard and she did the Poseidon thing, like you know what I mean. So when you watch something that highly, going on and her being these movies, and I tell you, it's like we're transferring over and it's Caribbean and I dreamed about it. So I know it has something to do with that. I was all in the courtroom in my dream, like, what's going on? What y'all so, and then in my dream, they had a sarcophagus and it was, however you call it, the coffin from Egypt. And it was in black cloth and there was bugs coming out of it in the back room of the courtroom. So I know it's something going on with the ritual.
Oh, wow.
So it's just, yeah, so it's a lot going on. So Adam and Eve in the garden. So he didn't want her to eat. So I think like back in the day they had slavery and they always told you couldn't take yourself out or unalive yourself. But really and truly it's your own life. And if they got you in that horrible condition, it's either them or you. And then you're not mean, you might want to just take you and your kids out. And I think the forbidden fruit was this fruit that you actually were forbidden from eating in the Caribbean from taking yourself out. They forbid you from eating. Yeah, if you ate it, you just went and you left because they didn't want you to be unalive because they can't use you for slavery. So that was the forbidden fruit, to eat things that would take you out to go meet with the universe.
Wow. I've always kind of like thought, or especially too, like more recently too, is like you guys kind of look into like the alien lineages. It almost seems too that like, there's these people that are created from like some type of humanoids. And then this serpent being basically tempts them. And then it makes you think about like, bringing reptilian DNA into the human DNA and then us basically being in a matrix after that. So then that's what I wonder with this, like, original sin. Is the original sin kind of like us coming into this matrix and being completely in an illusion after that?
I feel like okay, so like I always talk about Lemurian Atlantis. I feel like Atlantis people are like the reptilians. I don't know, they're different than us. When you feel a different type of entity, like for me, I feel really sick to my stomach. I feel like I want to throw up and I can't go around certain people. Even if there's too many of them, I can't even feel. There's something with that DNA. Maybe they came from the reptilian egg. You know how the people from wherever outer space that were sweet and they loved us and they were white too, but they would loved us and they were like, we're going to have babies. There's these other people that just like to take energy and they're like more like, I only had a dream one time with reptilians. I woke up like the reptilian, so I don't know much about them. I must not have the DNA inside of me to really channel them. I think you could channel what you are. And because I'm not them, I've only had one dream about them. So whenever people talk about reptilians, I just know that no lip people remind me of reptilian. So if you have no lips, I'm thinking you might be reptilian because vibration. That's why they call it a tulip. You give tulips to people because they're flowers.
Well, this is why everyone's getting the lip injections now.
Yeah. And if you're a witch or you're saying things, your lips vibrate in energy. If you don't have lips and you're doing a seance or you're doing a spell, you can't vibrate. Like your lips are what takes energy. So big black lips are going to go by bigger and blacker and it's just like there's actually frequency that comes out of your mouth. When you have no lips, it's kind of like, I'm an old lady, and it goes nowhere. So the vibration of your lips. So that's why when I think of lizards,
and you even think about like it would have more of like an S type of like sound with there's really like not much lip because it's coming through just like the tongue and the teeth.
Oh, yes. I didn't think about hearing guys talk like this. It does sound like your lip. Yeah, it does. It does. Absolutely. Girl, you over here channeling. Thank you. I can't channel the reptilians. I can't. It's so hard for me to understand because I'm not. I just know like they exist because they was in my dream. And I know no lips. When I see no lips, I always be like, I don't know about you. I don't know if I could trust you.
So there is too like certain like archetypes in faces, and you know that they have like that like whole practice. It's like a Chinese practice where they do like face reading. And I have a couple of these like older books that are like basically it tells you that there is like maybe like 10 face types, and each feature of the face is, and you know you get it because one, you're created by your thoughts and your emotions and all of that, but then you also have like these like sometimes, you know, like you're saying, like sometimes people have certain type of lips or a certain type of like look, and it's not like race, it's like could be in any type of race or any type of person, but there's certain features you feel like you might already like know that person and not get along with their energy.
Yes,
Or like you
absolutely.
don't trust a certain look. So they have like this Chinese face reading where basically they're like crazy accurate, where you can like look at certain shaped faces, like the distance of things in the face, and it like shows certain personality traits.
I agree. Like, a lot of times when I see Leos, they look like lions. You know, they look raw, like they shine. They have a look to them. Aries, a lot of times they look like rams. They look like the animals that represent them. Or if you start to do like what I do, birthday gift codes, I start to just see people and be like, oh my God, you look like this certain archetype. And it's usually based on the animal or based on everybody I've seen on the archetype. So there is a thing. That's why it's important to always pick roles that look like the person. But what happens in real life when you're aligning is that person's gonna have the same birthday. Like I said, with from Hunger Games having this April 15th birthday, like you guys, because that's who they're seeing. It just happens to be, they might not even have thought they were doing anything. They were just like, oh, you look like the person in my I'm channeling, but then it happens to be this your birthday. There is something going on. So at the end of your journey, you don't, I look this way so you guys remember who I am, but this is not what I would choose. I would have a smaller nose, maybe in my real hair would be this hair. So like I know what I would choose in my future. And I know that people born in August usually have nice bodies. They're really beautiful. And Virgo, especially Virgo Leos, are even more beautiful, and they have a certain love to them. So Ra is like Ra, and you guys are not like, oh my God, I'm extremely beautiful. Like you're extremely beautiful, but you are too busy being a lion to be beautiful. You're like, you're looking at yourself, but you're busy. Where Virgos are like, I'm a lion and I'm a Virgo. That's my daughter. She's just like, she's beautiful, but she will freaking, you know. So like, I want to come through next time on my Virgo Leo, because I love that energy and I want to be beautiful and I want to enjoy my life. And a lot of them are musicians, they're talented. So there is an archetype where that's why when people say you don't want to they don't want to do euthanasia for people. But if you knew that when you died, you come into that energy, you would pick the energy you love the most to come out of. So like if you enjoy me being water sign, like, oh, I want to be water sign next time, you would be an old lady in euthanasia during the water sign, so you could enjoy that being a witch or an astral person, if that makes sense.
Like meaning when they come back in their next life?
Yes. Like if you could pick when you could come back, all you have to do is pick when you're leaving. So old people, if they pick when they leave, they'll come back as that person. So if I like you and I like Virgos and I like my daughter and I like her personality, and I know they could sing and they have art, like they could play piano, that's when I want to sing and come back and play piano. So that's why I want to be euthanized when I'm an old lady. But that's not legal because of that reason, because you could choose.
Wow. So they do say that like with when you're selecting your life on the soul side, that you choose your birthday, you choose your astrological chart, and you also choose your name because your name has a frequency. And they say that's sometimes why like someone wants to name their kid something and then they come back from the hospital, they're like, you know what? We went with Alex. It was just, we felt like it.
Absolutely. And names mean something because when people are doing seances, they channel people's names. So like I didn't know this at first. So like I'm glad you know. Because I didn't know. So I named my daughter Aaliyah, and I didn't know about portals. So I didn't know she was gonna be born in the same exact portal that Aaliyah passed away, which is the Virgo Leo. So she crashed in that plane. I named my daughter Leah, and then they overdosed me and I almost died when I'm delivering my daughter.
Oh my
And
God.
Kentucky, Tennessee area, because they're gang stalking me. Not being aware keeps you in situations where you almost always die. But like I said, I told you right now that I wanted to die around that time. I must have told myself back then I wanted to die around that time because I did die around that time, which is the Virgo Leo, because we did die and we came right back. So, but
Wow.
I think I was a little bit too early. A little bit too early. I wasn't ready yet. So I think
You had some stuff to do still.
I got to be I got to be like 80 years old. So like there's a want that they use to take you out, but they didn't know that I wanted it. They knew they took the want. Your energy is a want. Whatever you think in your thought is a want or a need. They took my own, like you said, we chose this. I chose that. I know when I want to go down. So they chose that, my want, to take me out. But I didn't want to go that early, so they couldn't take me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to the hospital, when they hospitalized me, right, they was holding me down, overdosing me, all that good stuff. But I didn't. I was like, I'm not going. And I had in Underworld, you have to solve these riddles without knowing anything. So I didn't know any of this stuff. And I'm here in consciousness is like you have to figure out who all these people are, call them out by their name, and then you could call them out of that person's body because they're holding you here astrally from another place because they already know who you are. So once I did all that and stuff, I was able to get out. And plus my sister, she's a little witchy too. She sees ghosts. So she came through. I could see her in people's bodies. I'm like, you're my sister. They think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, my sister's here. She's watching over me. Thank you, Jesus. Like, I'm not going to die in here because it's not my time. Even though they showed me I could sing. I was with Michael Jackson. I was with Aaliyah. Everybody I showed you on those pictures about who passed away, I saw all of them in there. But this is before I knew I was had a gift. This is just me like, oh my God, this is weird. But when I did my research, I'm like, no wonder I saw everybody because they all passed away in August, and so did I that time when I delivered my daughter. And my birthday's on February 27th, and I was in the hospital in February 13th. So it's like when they take you, usually around your birthday, because they want you to repeat your cycle. If you pass away right far after your birthday, you're repeating a cycle. And I'm not repeating this cycle. Hell no, I'm not coming back like this. Because why?
And it's so interesting because a lot of people do pass around their birthday, either like right leading up to it. It's like so common. You see people, especially too, like if you're in like a cemetery, you see so many people that their birth and death day are very similar, just different years, obviously.
Yes. It's like you could say you had a wonderful life and you were a good singer and you're old and you passed away on your birthday. I say, if you're old, like you already knew, like I'm telling you right now when I want to go. So when I'm 85 and I do go around this Virgo Leo time, Sophia got her wish. If I go any other time, they didn't give me, they took me out, which they can't, right? So when they're older and you told your family members this already, like you loved your life and you come back in your life, that's great. But if someone did not like that cycle, and they came back in that cycle, that's just repeating the same exact thing over. And you have to make it through all 13, 14 cycles before you could come back and be the person you were. You have to experience every person's life, walk in every person's shoes to appreciate everybody before you could come back as your ascended self. Or else you just walk all over people. And that's what happened when we got hijacked, is that they came through, they skipped being black, they were reptilian probably, and they skipped being black. The reptilians took the Lemurian people that looked like them, but just took their hair color, their eye color, because the reptilians probably had no lips and probably didn't, like they had no lips, they probably had brown eyes and brown hair, which is dominant genes. They seen these alien hybrids that were like their color, took all the women and the children they thought were deemed beautiful. All the darker skinned people went to wherever they went, whoever they deem not necessary. Like red haired people, you notice they're not really on TV like as much, except for Lindsay Lohan, which they used as a twin. They used Lindsay Lohan as a twin in Parenthood, and the other girl was blonde in Parent Trap. Remember that Parent Trap movie? There was a blonde girl and there was a redhead. I told you about that redhead and that blonde head and the twins. So they used this to actually even tell the story of Set, if that makes sense. Wow. So you see how Lindsay Lohan's redhead and they play her twin, and if you watch
interesting that it's only really red-haired women that you see in the media. Like you pretty much never see a red-haired man. If you see it's like a woman, and she's usually like some type of like Yeah, or like some type of, yeah, like kind of like a person that's different than everybody. Like she's kind of like like
Game
just different.
Game of Thrones, the redhead one, she knew how to win the war. I only met one redhead person. She was really, really nice. She was a girl. The one redhead guy I met, he was white, but he tried to kill me. That was in the hospital, so I didn't try. I don't trust him no more. I'm like, yeah, no, you can't try to kill me. So, but like with the redhead women, I love them, and but they don't show them on TV as a man and only a little bit as a woman. And then they made fun of Lindsay Lohan for a long time for her fiery thingamajiggy. You know what I mean? So it's like you just demean the beautiful woman and then turn her into all crazies when you know you used her to do a ritual in that movie. Because remember, I told you about the twins Isis and Nephthys and how they traded places. What does Parent Trap do? They trade places and they're twins, right? So that's basically what it is. Our twin selves always trade places. So whenever you're in trouble, you could trade with your twin when you're going through a episode like Set, if that makes sense. So Set has the episode, trade places with his astral self, kills his brother, all that good stuff.
So what do you think with like the stuff that's going on right now in the world overall? What type of movies are like the archetypes telling this story that we're going through right now?
All right. So of course, all the Matrix movies. Why? Because it was written by Sophia Stewart, which happens to be my name, Sophia, with the Ghostbusters. So Sophia is a medium. Sophia Stewart, who wrote that. But she wrote a small story, and they created many stories of the Terminator and Matrix based on one small story she wrote. It's because when you read one book, when you open one consciousness, you flood the gate. So you don't need her no more. You read the book, you read what she said, and then your brain connected to it because it's a true story. When it's a true story, you're going to see it in your dreams. You're going to align with it. Everything it does is going to go with you. So the Matrix and the Terminator is basically what we talk about all the time. So those are the two go-to movies because they're written by the Black woman who's a medium who opened the floodgates for those movies. And then, I would say all the Little Mermaid movies, all the Belle movies, all those Disney movies, the first four, Sleeping Beauty, what's the other one? Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, Cinderella,
yes, Cinderella.
And then Aurora. There's like four.
Oh yeah, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, the two girls look alike. They're probably the twins. So it was a Sleeping Beauty and the other blonde girl. Cinderella. Those two. They're two blonde. I always mix them up. So those four stories, because those are the same stories that are happening now. But remember, they're four people, but they're based on many people that are going to awaken and become those sleeping beauties. They're going to wake up and then they're going to lead because feminine is leading. You notice it's never the princess leading. It's always the princesses leading. Right? They always have just one parent, which is someone coming from a single parent household for the most part. Something always happens to their mother or their father. Now, in real life, Black people, people of color, we usually don't have a dad. But in all those shows, they have a dad because they're showing you the duality. The dad dies, the dad is gone. So they're showing you a duality, but it's always showing
it's very interesting that there's like no moms in Disney. At least not the older ones, not the classic ones.
Yes.
And if there is, they have to kill her. They have to get rid of her right at the beginning.
Yes. And that's in real life, it's the opposite. There's no dad, but the mom is there. But the way that they put it with people of color, the moms are always at work anyway. So we are there. So then you really just by yourself a lot of the time. So I try to be here for my kids. And I know that the one trick is to create a huge global MK program to MK Ultra everybody. That's based off of money. And then based off of just a one parent household. And then based off of giving you church so you don't know you can help yourself. And then giving you your own story because it's our own story. That's why we love it. We're like, oh, we love Jesus. Why wouldn't we? But then we're like, you're wearing a dead person on your cross every day. Like if someone kidnapped my daughter and hanged her, you think I'm going to put that on my neck every day? No, I'm not. I'm going to show her with wings like they do with Isis and Nephthys and all these goddesses. They have wings when they pass away. They're angels. They go and you travel at the speed of light and you go help people in your dreams because they're here. They're just living in. Like if you pass away today, either A, you're going to be held in that purgatory, like I told you, because they like to hell people somehow. But if not, you're going to just come back today. So it's better you fix what's wrong today. So when you come back today and you're 1 year old, that we actually started to enlighten each other. So that my 6-year-old could go on TikTok and hear us talking about this stuff and be like, oh, this is cool. They incorporated the church, Jesus, Scientology, and everything in the one conversation, and it makes sense. So I like that we're hiring the vibration. So when we come back today, that it's going to be better for whoever leaves. Like Chelsea Price, but she's just probably a child somewhere. She just she just got birthed somewhere. Someone just had her in a hospital, you know. So
you think people come back that quickly with reincarnation?
Unless you're being held, or you have to go help people. So that little portal of time, those 10 days, those 10, 15 days or 3 days, like right now we're going through a portal, but it's only like one day. So April 19th, that's why I went to our video now. April 19th is this Aries Osiris portal. Aries is Osiris, which is a man. And then you have Isis, which is Taurus, which is a woman. So we're actually about to go into the female energy right now. And that's more important because the male's been leading for a long time and they don't know how to date. Oh, God bless them. But we need them, we love them, but we need to get the feminine out. So we're about to change portals on the 19th, and there's only one day. So if you pass away from now until that day, you only have like one day to get back to your body before it changes. If it changes, you have to wait for that portal to open to get back. So say you have to wait a whole year. That means you're flying around, you're in people's dreams, you're talking for that whole year before you come back into that portal. If that makes sense.
Okay, so like with those birthday portals, they open up for a certain period of time. Everyone that is alive or dead during that time will pass through, or everyone, when they're coming to birth or death, will pass through, and then that portal's closed. And you say it's about 10 days long.
Usually it's about 10 long, but this one that's coming up is like one day. So this is like people just dying right now. It's not much time. Like time goes by very slowly in the other world. So that one day could feel like a whole entire year or a billion years. You know what I mean? But that's not a lot of time to go save it's not enough time to change what killed you. If you didn't want to go today, you know how hard it is to solve all the riddles I'm talking about? Because like I swear to God, in purgatory is riddles. It's the strangest place. They're going to ask you, the riddle is because you have to recognize who killed you. Someone murdered you. Unless you took away yourself, which still is gang stalking, which still is a problem with the world. If the world's so horrible, you have to leave, you still had to go fix some stuff. So your job is like Scrooge to go back and find out what happened so it doesn't happen again. But you have to go back and make it to your body before you actually do pass away. That's why when people are missing, I'm like, the more eyes on that person, then the more likely they'll be able to come home, whether you find the body or you find them. That's why they always they don't put Black people up there that go missing a lot, because they don't want those people to be found because they don't value them. So, and they know that there's not enough bodies for the reptilian babies. So they make sure the reptilian babies are shown on TV. Like, oh, we need her back because she could carry our babies because she's an O negative, whatever the hell's going on. So it's a lot of things that go on under the cover. So you have that amount of days to go fix your life and come back, or else you're stuck and you're dead. So that's what happened with me. So on February 19th, after they had overdosed me so many times, the world said, universe, which is you guys, everybody out here helps. People on the other side could see us. So when you are passing away or you're about to, you help each other. So all those people were like, Sophia, could you solve our murders too? Because the people awake are not solving our murders. They don't want to come back here, and the same people running the world is still running the world because they're gonna just get caught again. Selena's gonna get caught, Left Eye's gonna get caught, everybody's gonna get caught, and they're all gonna get caught in the same matrix they made for themselves, whether it be, being around the wrong people, because Selena was around that lady who was crazy, who was MK Ultra, and they used her consciousness to hijack her to do that because they didn't want her around, because her voice and her frequency, she's like a leader. She knows how to run businesses for her people. She had this wonderful voice, and then she used it for good in her community. They used J-Lo to replace her because she doesn't, like, J-Lo just be like, I'm gonna keep getting married. I'm like, how about you marry your community? But she's like, not, J-Lo's like, I don't think she's Mexican. She's like Caribbean. Caribbean people are like mixed Spanish and Black and natives, and Mexicans are like Native Americans. So they like actually stick together and they actually like help each other. Over there, it's more like you mix, so it's kind of like you're both. So they like her because she's mixed, which means in underworld, she's gonna always try to choose her people, where Selena was gonna choose her people. They didn't like that, and she was in Texas, and George Bush and that whole family does Skull and Bones, and they follow Nephthys, Isis, and Set, which are the water signs, where Osiris, Isis, and Horus is followed by the queen over there. That's her birthday. So she follows them. So it's like two warring governments that use two warring deities to create chaos in astral, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I forgot the question because I was going around in circles. But when you died at the portal, in the portal, you can only have certain days to come. I woke up February 19th because it shifted a sign to the sun sign of like Pisces. And if I didn't get back during my dad's birthday, which is the sun, well, not technically his birthday, but the sun is going to shift. That's a big change. You need to get back to your body. The stars, you could kind of dwindle in and out of the stars. You're like, hey, tag team. But the sun, when the sun shifts, it's like the literal, like it's done. It's very hard to travel on the next sun sign. It's easier to travel when it's like a chart of the stars. So if you
So
know
you
this,
think that this is why there's a lot of like emphasis on things like astrology, sun signs, all of these kind of different categories that you are born under, that it's like they're really kind of talking about portals that have a certain energy.
yes. And the people that are in charge of the world already know all this. That's why they have quantum computing. That's why they have CERN. That's why they have the Big Bang. Certain things that happen on the Big Bang, like Mary Lavelle's birthday, September 10th. My daughter's birthday, September 10th, when they took me out. September 10th is the day before September 11th. So it's New Year's Eve and Coptic New Year. If you look at Coptic, it's like TikTok, right? It's also like a cop, a police officer. Police has ice in it. What is the goddess? Isis. So when you're bipolar, it's Isis being bipolar. When Isis reaches her water sign, when Isis remembers who she is, when Isis switches bodies with her, her Pisces self, the police are there to get her or that family. So police are sent out there. That's why the police has blue lights. Blue ice or blue lights is for Horus because that blue eye gene. They're there to arrest any bipolar Isises that want to act up, or anybody who's trying to act up that's bipolar that follows Isis. That's why they said don't say Isis when the Twin Towers fell down, because you would know it was a goddess. And then you would follow the story a long time ago when it was time to wake up. They want to slow us down because it's going to happen, but they're slowing us down. So there's
And so I hear a lot of people talk about how like the goddess Isis is also the same as like the Virgin Mary. Do you believe that?
Yeah. So, okay. So why the Virgin Mary story is she had Jesus and she didn't have no man. She had Joseph. So if you think about the story of the twins, Isis and Nephthys, remember, Nephthys, which is Pisces, her husband Set, which is Scorpio, killed Osiris. So when he killed Osiris, he put him in a box and they had to go find him. When they found him, I guess he found out they found him. So he took the body and he chopped him in different pieces, including his mandingo. So when the girls went back with Anubis helped his aunties find the body of Osiris. They put the body back together. There was no mandingo. So she had it in the Immaculate Conception. So she had a baby without no mandingo. And she created Horus, which is born in December, which is for Toys R Us, who has a Hasbro, who is the toy maker, Hasbrother, which is Anubis. You get that story?
It's all like a code. It's all like these, like kind of also like too like spells. How they say that like the whole entire language is all really spells, and that they're basically kind of like telling us this like truth through all the words that we use. Just we believe are unrelated to these things.
Yes, and they talk in code, and they made it so natural for us to talk in it that we wouldn't even know we were talking in it. But when we wake up, we're like, hey, the whole time. So think about it. Spells backwards look like slept, right? As you slept, you have spells. Then words are swords. Words are swords because backwards is swords. So your words are your swords when you sleep. So you need to know what you're doing the codes to get. So there's some. So let me pretend there's a security box and there's codes to it, but there's keys to your car, which is your body. So you need the keys to your code to open that to get the keys. So some people help you get the codes, but we can't get your keys for you because they're only for you, but we can help you get the codes to get your keys. So my birthday decode is to wake up your subconscious. So when you sleep and you're doing spells, that your words are your swords, and you go in there and you get your keys, which are the numbers for numerology, which are based off letter, which is a frequency. So when you say things like Lord, aboard, short, or God, fod, lod, whatever, there's not a lot of words that rhyme with beautiful words like love and dove. There's only like 4. But when it's F, fuck, shut, fuck, when it's lower vibration, it rhymes. But Fuck, all those letters equal up to a 6 numerology. And all the letters for love and dove and God equal 9. So if you keep the higher vibration numbers to people, you become telepathic, you'll heal people. So they just want to keep it in low vibration by saying that not having a lot of rappers rap that. So if a rapper could rhyme and make up words with love, God, and dove, they don't like that because they're going to awaken the subconscious through frequency because your words. And if it's a black person or a white person that has lips, they're going to vibrate it more than others would. And voices from previous lifetimes. That's why I talk about Post Malone, because his voice resonates. He has lips, it resonates. He's a really big guy, it resonates. He's been here before. The blue eyes, it resonates. He's been here before. The blue eyes, it resonates. So everything about him is getting people to him, but it's the right people. But for them, it's the wrong people because they don't want good people to wake up. So they kind of shy. If you've seen for the past 3 years, they keep him like locked up somewhere in the dungeon. Because when he was singing Sunflower, I was like, oh, the Sunflower. Because I'm locked up at the time. I'm like, we're going to all die. It was very emotional for me. And then I watched Spider-Man Into the Universe and I understood it. The sunflowers were, they spray painted sunflowers on that movie. Sunflowers are by Van Gogh. I talked to Sloan Bella, the psychic. Her son had passed away December 18th, which was like Van Gogh's birthday or something, or maybe July 29th, he passed away. He was born December 18th. December 18th, Sagittarius, and July is like the Anubis. So he passed away in the brother-cousin portal. Van Gogh, he made all those sunflowers around that time of August. So it's like he could see in August there was a revolution. He made a series of sunflowers. And then he took himself out because he was probably going crazy because he was seeing everything. So the sunflowers is important because the sunflowers is what represents the people of Lemuria or the people of Egypt. That's why when you think on the sunflowers, it's a certain melody it has. It actually goes with, I forgot, it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, a Q, R, S, and a T, U, V. You ever hear it? It's like the same exact melody. So sunflower is the same melody as ABC if you sing it. So there's actually like some type of ancient thing that is the same melody. So that wakes people up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
let me see. Does anyone have any questions? Let's see.
Thank you, Jess the Chill. Definitely one of the best lives she's sat in a while. She's so sweet.
Aw. I wonder, someone was telling me that you only see your own followers' comments because it's a merged thing.
Oh.
So I wonder. I don't know if that's true.
Well, let me see. I got yes. Oh, I got roses and I got yes, I do. Let's see. Let me read. I agree, immortal. And then we have what about Jean-Michael Biscott? I can't pronounce names, but I don't know who Jean.
I think we're seeing different comments. Yeah, oh my God. This is going to be on YouTube.
Okay. Oh, well, hello.
I can see you. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
I love the melody there. That? Oh,
there's a couple questions. I mean, I would like to answer, but I would probably get banned for answering that.
He's like right? A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P N Q R S, and I'm gonna figure out what ancient thing that goes with. It's like it goes with the ancient. Like there's a numerological code to this that I looked up. I have to look for it again. So yeah, those are the movies that I would say see. Any movie at this point, if it has your birthday, if it was written by someone on your birthday, or it has a character with someone with your birthday, you go watch it because most likely that character is gonna play your role, or the opposite co-star is gonna see the role. Because in real life, we could watch. Like say this is a circle and I'm a Pisces. Whatever's across me, I can see very well. Anything by me, I can only see the side of your face. So if you're across the world over here, I could write your story. So I might be a Pisces playing like a September role because I could see September and I'm always around September people. So August people are around a lot of water signs and February people. So I see a lot of August people actually playing either my role or a lot of February roles because you're the firewall to Pisces. You were sent to protect the water. You were there like, don't come, we'll kill you. But the ones that aren't awake are like, kill them all. I don't know.
So one of the things that I had commented on one of your videos was that when I was younger, when I was like 18 years old, some psychic contacted me and it was like they didn't ask for any money or anything. And it just like kind of told me this message and then hung up the phone and I never spoke to them again. And this guy, he said that he needed to contact me because I was Elvis reincarnated. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, great, thanks. And I never really believed that. But when I was looking at your birthday portal stuff, basically he died on August 16th, 1977. I'm born August 16th, 88. And he was very into numerology. He actually was like a master numerologist, Elvis. And so I was like, after that, I was wondering, I was like, maybe there was some type of energy connection because we passed through the same type of portal, so like that was kind of like the energy that this psychic was getting, as opposed to like it being my actual past life.
Yeah, she's 100% right. See, some of the psychics have been psychics for a long time. I just woke up a couple years ago, so I'm just learning about this stuff. But yeah, absolutely. When he passed away, his energy, like how I told you, your grandma's energy is always around you. His energy could come in whenever he needs to with you because you are the same birthday. So say someone took you a lot of things like how to sing, you would be able to carry his energy to sing. And you have 77, 88. Those are like a certain numbers they call them. I forgot what they call them, but they're like certain numbers that are like repeating, like 55, 77, 88. They're special. The 77, 88 is the same. So I would say, could you sing though?
Can I know? I don't have it.
But sometimes people have to hide out. I call it the astral protection program, like the witness protection program. If you come back as you, which is as a male, and could sing, you don't think they're gonna know it was you. So if you are Elvis, you couldn't even remember, because then they would know that you remember. That's why you probably can't remember. You're out there doing your work and you're like, don't tell anybody I'm really a woman in this lifetime, and I don't want to sing, and I'm gonna do the right thing this time. And I need to appreciate being a woman because and then maybe he picked your body because he liked you, or maybe there's a DNA connection to you guys as well. So, you know what I mean? So it's like so many different things. With the portal, it doesn't necessarily mean you're reincarnated, but if you feel like you're reincarnated, then you probably are. So do you feel like you are? Or do you just...
I don't think so. I think there's a connection, but I don't think that was my actual past life.
Okay, well, I don't...
All of the past lives that I've remembered through hypnosis or whatever, they're so horrible. It'd be great if it was Elvis, but like they're all horrible. It's like, I'm like, damn, my life is pretty good this time around. I got lucky this time.
It's because it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to tell the world what you mean. Yes, absolutely. And you always are a target until you know you're a target. Then you're not a target, if that makes sense. And a lot of times you come in with protection, like your grandmas, they protect you. So back then, remember I told you in Lemuria, they took these people, the most beautiful people they thought were beautiful to them. And it wasn't good to be beautiful. At that time, Black people were like, yeah, we dark skin, we out, because they're not looking for us. So we could run where they were looking for y'all motherfuckers and taking y'all and raping you and having kids with you and doing things that you didn't want to do until your kids forgot where they came from. And now the kids are awake. And all the kids that thought they were always just white are like, how come I like Black people though? Wait a minute, I like this music. Wait a minute, I got rhythm. Wait a minute, I got natural lips. Wait a minute, I'm just not like, I'm like, yeah, you guys were Lemurian and you guys forgot. They took you, what they did with the Native Americans, took them to school, took their parents, and then brainwashed them. So here you are back, and you're safe to say whatever you want, that no one's going to come get you. Where back in the day, they would have done arrested me and you would have been cellmates at a psych ward right now, or getting torched or put in the water. We can say whatever we want and we won't get taken down. Thanks for the roses. Yeah. So I feel like if you want to channel Elvis and you're writing your stories, you might be writing stories based on Elvis's life as a child, based on what Elvis astral. So you could write based on you could channel him. And that's what people do in Hollywood a lot. Not you, but other ones. They take medication to actually channel. And then they write with their eyes closed. They're not even awake when they're writing. So a lot of these scripts get done because that's what they're doing. That's what Lorraine Warren did. She would close her eyes and be half asleep and then write things. So did Edgar Cayce. Wow. And they're not there. So you could write a script or type of script very quickly. If you're taking substances, going in that deep meditation, you come up with the script. But it was never your story to tell. So now here you are telling the story, telling people how they need to go to work and how they're not doing any work. But you just channel the whole group of people who are working their asses off, that are traumatized and getting killed and kidnapped, but you're over here taking the credit. And you never, in Hollywood, they don't give money back to the people that are poor. They do all the superhero movies. There's no, do a Jesus movie, but no money to Jesus people. which is the poor, elderly, and mentally ill, and people that are less advantaged. So there's a lot of going on that he needs to switch. Where I know if you made $1 billion, that you would start something to help somebody because you know how it is to need help.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like too, like even with like, you brought up like these like Marvel movies and stuff. So a lot of the stuff that I post about, people are always like, oh, that's in this movie, that's in this movie, that's in this movie. And it's like, it's so interesting that it's like kind of like these things that are, we're learning about from our soul, from hypnosis, from all of these different like, metaphysical ways of getting information, completely lines up perfectly with like the whole Marvel universe. And a lot of people talk about the Loki
Yes,
TV show, which I haven't seen.
Yes.
I haven't seen, but it's like literally what we have all been talking about, in kind of like this like alternative conspiracy, I don't know what you want to call it, groups.
You remind me of Sophia, who is his twin. The actor's name is Sophia, and it's his twin. You look like her right now. You just channeled her, and I gotta look up her birthday. I told my daughter to give me her laptop, and it's dead, so I can't look up actively what their birthday is. But Sophia, yeah. So Loki and Sophia, that's his variant. So it's him. I imagine Jesus has a bazillion kids. So he has a bazillion variants like him, but some of them are trying to destroy him. Some of them are trying to take him. So this girl, her name is Sophia. That's her actress name. I think her name is Sylvie on the show. And right now, your hair is like Sylvie. You're acting like Sylvie. You just mentioned that for a reason. Now I got to go do that. But yes, and the variant goes to the Caribbean. It's like, I don't know. It's just a lot. You have to go watch the show, girl, because now you're Sylvie. Now I'm not even looking. I wish I could see what Sylvie's birthday is. But yeah, go watch the show. And watch all the.
I know. And my friend kind of told me the whole thing, and I'm like, this seems like something I would really enjoy. Like
you would, because you're in it. Now when you start to watch yourself, like you only know your mannerisms, and you would know your little stories, like little stories that they tell sometimes are specifically to you, like that. I was telling you about the Little Mermaid, how I had a dream with you. Here, little things like that are set to tell us that we are watching you, and we're sending information through other channels to make sure that we could see you. It's like they want us to be proud, which are us, that they saw us. So we should feel like thank you so much for seeing me. Now, can we get some of that money up, because I appreciate it, but we need to get the movies in the right hands so we could use that money to help our people. Like the Jewish went to LA, Jewish people went to LA, they created it, and they got their people some money. So now it's time for poor people of all colors to use our stories to make our lives better, so we can have better stories. And I promise you, the stories are more wonderful than the stories they've been telling us. Like people like, could it get any better than the princess movies? It does, because I've seen the future. I've traveled in the future. It's beautiful, solar light. Everybody's good. It is like future heaven on earth, because a lot of people are going to die that are evil. And they can't remote view us, and they can't come back in bodies anymore. So all the negative, all the nastiness is going to be gone. So, but yeah, go watch, because every time you're Sylvie. Now you're not even you anymore. You just channel the girl to you. I swear. I'm going to put a side by this video.
Okay, let me see if I wrote down a couple questions. I want to make sure that I asked them all to you. Let's see. Just because there were so many things that like pop up when I look at your stuff that I'm like thinking of. Let's see.
You can't figure out the universe in 1 hour, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm reading these comments. What do
okay, so some stuff about like astral traveling. Not necessarily like conscious astral projection, which I don't know. So like say people who are like consciously astral projecting because they want to and they're trying to. And then kind of like all this other type of astral travel that happens either unconsciously through sleep, or when you kind of get into, I don't know, weird states or whatever. Is that kind of like the same thing? And so is that like basically like, would you say that's like the same type of thing too, when you're consciously astral traveling and when you're astral traveling in dreams?
I feel like there's like 4 different type of things. There's like you who actually is channeling. That's how you write. And then there's Sloan Bella who actually just could channel through her brain. Then there's me. I go to sleep and I'm channeling, and I can see possessions of people, or I can see energy around people. Then there's those that like there's a two different types. The ones that just take drugs and they end up somewhere they're not supposed to be. They're like, oh my god, that was so cool. And I'm like, hey guys, but usually they're watchers because they don't know how to help. And then they get scared because they see what we see, which is a lot of like people getting, taken out, a lot of people getting touched, a lot of this human trafficking. In this realm, you see a lot. So if you're just drunk or where you're not supposed to be there, you're just a watcher. And some people enjoy watching bad things because they're bad people, and I don't like them. But the ones that are shocked, they want to go back again to help the people they saw. So people that actually they go in there like, oh my God, I want to go back in because I want to go help this girl. Cause I swear to God, she's real. And most of the time they are real, and they're in another realm, and they are human trafficked, and they're taken.
Wow.
Then there's the Queen Elizabeth family. Because of her DNA line and where it came from, they never actually let her go into astral until like a couple weeks ago. I did see her. They didn't want her to go in because remember, you could recognize their face. So a lot of times they would have people around her go in, be next to her, and then have other psychics go in to watch us. It's like that. Like one of those movies where like who's the fairest queen of all, and she keeps looking to see, and she keeps finding there's still someone fairer than her, so she people out because she still sees someone with more energy than her. So they had her to go in by herself, and that's when I saw her a couple weeks ago. So that means she must be passing away soon because it must be the last ditch effort to save her. So they use her energy to channel the DNA of Queen Charlotte Sophia, which North Carolina is named after. And they used her sons to channel as well. So they had her sons, her son, I think she had one son, Edward, and then the other grandsons to go in. That's why Princess Diana did not want them to go into that realm. And they did. That's why she's like, don't kill the ducks. If you see Spencer, she's like, don't kill the ducks. But it really meant don't go in there and kill us. That's what it really meant. That don't, because when you are doing these rituals, you are taking the stuff, knowing you're controlling a body that's not awake like anybody in the world, and you're doing something to somebody, whether it be, pow pow or do like you are. So then you watch on the news to see it has to be a high profile person of the other race because you need that power, and you need to show them that you had enough power to do it. So when you see Chelsea Price jump, they're like, yeah, we won. But no, because she chose to jump, like I said, because you always choose. Whatever she chose, she chose. But some of us are not going to. So they're like, damn, we didn't get the right princess. Her energy matched a certain blood type and bloodline, but it wasn't her. So they tried to do a ritual because she's from Charlotte, and Queen Charlotte was like supposed to be like a mixed Black person. So they used that energy to channel other Moorish people to command them. So it's like they go in there and they go in astral to command them. So it's like they go in there and they go in astral to create chaos and to take things. Then you have Scientologists. Woo! So Scientologists, I like mixed borderline. I like Tom Cruise because I've seen him in astral in the hospital in Kentucky because he's from Kentucky. So at the time, I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, this is weird. What is Tom Cruise doing here? And then he came through my dream with L. Ron Hubbard and Miscarriage and all those people. I'm like, what are y'all doing here? This is so strange. So there is Miscarriage. I think he's really misguided, but L. Ron Hubbard was trying to do good. Tom Cruise thinks he's Batman. So it's cool, but a little bit, I think he's a little bit, something's wrong with him. So there's a problem with that. But Scientologists do go and they try to help mental problems. Like with the mental health care is horrible. So they started a fund and a program to help people who got hospital not like me. And I called them up and I was like, oh my God, Scientology. She's like, we're not with Scientology, but we got started Scientology. So we're them, but we're not. But it was cool. They know exactly what I'm dealing with and you're dealing with and the world's dealing with. But the government suppresses them. And the government works with people in Kentucky to watch them. So if you're watching them and I'm in this hospital and you're the military, then I'm watching them too because I just happen to be in the middle of the warfare. So they watch each other. That's why, Tom Cruise supported a certain president and then he don't like Trump because Trump's in that hospital too. Because when he got keys to the codes, like when he got to go to be the president, you get to go in these things to understand how to travel and how to understand what's really going on. So here Trump is, they know he's going to win. So they changed the paperwork for him to win. I don't care about either. I don't care. But I just knew he was. And most psychics could see it. But they took it because they couldn't have him have the consciousness of the world, like the Wonder Woman movie. How he was things. So that's that situation. So there's the government that go in, there's Scientologists that go in, there's the queen that goes in, the Bushes go in. Then there's the witches. There's different witches. You got Kim Kardashian in church and the Pope. Those are not the witches I mess with, because if you're with the Pope and you know that he's channeling us, me and you, to get the real codes, because he doesn't really have the right codes. And I seen it in my dream. He like comes looking for me. My mom's like, run in my dream, because he needs us. He needs me to tell him who you guys are, or he needs you to tell him who I am, so that they could take us. And that's why these random people keep passing away, and it's the same type of birthday portals, because April people, like how that girl went and she took out her boyfriend in Miami. She like totally stabbed her. They both are set. I mean, they're both Isis and Osiris signs. Remember, I told you about how Osiris like totally put his person into pieces. He's Korea. Nigerian people mostly are in Haiti, which is Caribbean people. So they used, her birthday is April 21st, which is Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Remember that the first time I saw her go in was a couple of weeks or a month back. And then I see this happen with this girl. She did that remotely. And that's why the girl got off, because they know. That's why she went to the mental ward that they control. So she could tell, I don't know what happened, you know what I'm saying? They were like, it's cool because it was a ritual, and you was out your mind because it wasn't you. It was the queen. And that's why I saw her. Because they tried to do that ritual with Osiris by, taking off, stabbing him, doing what they had to do. So, and in my dreams, I'm there too. So it's not like I'm just saying this and I'm making it up. In my dreams, I see this is what's going on. I see what's going on. So that's why they don't let me talk a lot. Thanks for having me on, because they be like,
I'm glad that we did this. I want to ask you a couple of other questions, but I'll text you them about different things.
Oh, she's like, oh man, yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that we did this. Okay, so then we'll be able to download it too. So I'm gonna put it on my YouTube for anyone that wants to see. Like, say if you didn't see all of it, and you should get the thing too. And if you don't, then I'll send it to you.
Okay, and I'll put it on my YouTube too, because this is wonderful. You are the best. My daughter's like, come on, mommy. Yes, wonderful.
Oh, your daughter's there.
I told her. I told her, leave me alone for 2 hours. I gotta be on my live. They're like, okay. An hour later, they're like, mommy.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thanks for all of your information and your amazing energy. And I'll talk to you soon. Oh, hi, baby. Hi.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Oh, thanks so much, everybody.
Bye. Watch.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh, I will.
Right.